Do I think that Hedera could maybe be such a big narrative during this bull run? Hypothetically, I think so, even though nothing I say is financial advice. And it's not only just because $3 is what I could maybe see H bar going to. It goes beyond that because I think Hedera really is focused on such an emerging market. And what is that? It's not meme coins, it's not some random nonsense. It's something called RWAs. If we take a look at RWAs, right? What does it stand for? It stands for real world asset. Now, let me give it an example when it comes to this. Real world assets, more specifically, if we take a look at RWA tokens, the amazing thing about it is that they are digital representations of physical assets on the blockchain. Now, why is this amazing? It's because if we take a look at what could these sectors be in the case of real estate, art, bonds, stocks, there's a bunch of possibilities. So then the way you take a look at it is that RWAs, it feels like something so revolutionary, but then when it comes to Hedera, because Hedera Hashgraph is a directed acyclic graph, I feel it could maybe have a better advantage when compared to other projects out there that are somewhat focused on this, but then they're using traditional blockchain technology. So that I think is kind of the upper hand that Hedera may have. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean it will, but because we have to take a look at it. A directed acyclic graph, when compared to traditional blockchain technology, allegedly is faster, more scalable, improved data storage, consumes way less energy. So there's much more benefits there. Now we just got to think about this. Would it be easier if I ran a marathon with actual marathon, running shoes or whatever, or let's say a pair of boots? You know what I mean? So then when it comes to Hedera, it feels like that. But then when it comes to other projects that are focused on RWAs, because Hedera is not the only one, arguably, I would say, they just kind of feel that it's a little bit, held back. But I just don't think that when it comes to Hedera, of course, it may not have the best mass adoption of all time, but I still think it can maybe offer better advantages when compared to projects that are using traditional blockchain technology. Hedera also, in my opinion, I've seen a focus when it comes to AI. And I do like this because, again, AI, the market of it is expected to be worth nearly $2 trillion by 2030, according to Grandview Research. Again, many projects out there that are focused on this, they're using traditional blockchain technology, unlike Hedera Hashgraph. So then, in my opinion, I just kind of feel like when it comes to AI, when it comes to, RWAs, even just other sectors too, like NFTs, DeFi, blockchain gaming, whatever, I feel like Hedera could really offer maybe better things when compared to other projects out there. So that's the unique thing about it. I think it could play such a big narrative because it is focused on emerging markets, and the foundation of the technology behind it, arguably, I would say, is just, I think, much better than traditional blockchain technology. So then Hedera is kind of like a no-brainer for me. Keep in mind, I am not maybe the only one who thinks so, because we have to take a look at Hedera's governing council, includes Google. That's very massive. We take a look at Mondelez. Mondelez, their brands include Oreo and Cliff. Not to mention, and of course I'm talking about the Cliff Bar, but again, we take a look at others too, like for instance, in the case of LG and many others. I mean, there's a lot, but I'm just kind of highlighting a few. So when I take a look at something like Hedera, it's not short of bad fundamentals in my opinion. I think fundamentally, this is arguably one of the best projects I've seen. Now, of course, I get it. The market isn't doing the best as of right now. So of course, there's a lot of sort of this uncertainty whether or not HBAR could ever even reach the price of $1, let alone $3. But in my opinion, again, I'm not worried about that in the grand scheme of things, because we've seen time and time again the markets recover. I mean, ever since Bitcoin launched, right? Take a look at how many bear markets it had, and also a bunch of altcoins. Take a look at how many bear markets a lot of projects have been through. So when you take a look at that, again, things eventually do recover. Take a look at the S&P 500. Eventually, there's going to be a moment in time where things, yeah, sure, go down, but also there's a time where maybe they do go up too. So I get it. As of right now, it's just a waiting game. I feel like the factors when it comes to cryptocurrencies in general are actually very bullish, like the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF, and also the number of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise adoption. It's just the market really, in the grand scheme of things, of course, is going to greatly affect cryptocurrencies. And again, the adoption when it comes to blockchain technology and whatever could be good, but then if the markets overall aren't doing the best, it's not really going to reflect on the price of altcoins more specifically, because a lot of people do gravitate towards Bitcoin. But I'm just saying, theoretically, there may be a time in which altcoins could shine, but it's going to take time, right? There's no exact way to predict the exact moment in time, but I'm going to stay patient because When we take a look at historically, altcoins as a worst case scenario, they usually peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. 18 months from the last one is actually around October this year. So we're not in October yet. So even theoretically, as of right now, we're not even supposed to maybe see altcoins peak as a worst case scenario. So this is just my mentality. I'm still going to stay patient and I'm going to control what I can control, which is just accumulating, holding, and just waiting. Literally, that's it. Beyond that, I can't control anything else. So for me, instead of me worrying about when the price is going to pop or when the price is going to, do this, do that, I am going to focus on the one thing that I can control, and that is accumulation. Accumulating, holding, and just waiting. Literally, that's it. I'm dollar cost averaging. And if let's say the sentiment when it comes to altcoins are not good, that, if anything, for me, is a good indication that I should not give up, because why would I want to FOMO into it when the price is doing good? You know what I mean? It's like in theory, right? When we see something that we like let's say, for instance, I'm going to speak on my behalf. Let's say I want to buy some rice at a grocery store. Would I rather, have it at a discount or when it's expensive? In theory, I would like it if it's at a discount, right? So if I believe in the project and I don't think anything fundamentally bad happened to it, and I see the price is low for, let's say, its native token, whatever the project is, would it make sense for me to be like, oh yeah, nah. It's like this, for instance. Let's say I go to Costco or whatever, and it's just a random example, but let's say I'm trying to buy, something for like $10, right? And there's a discount, it becomes like $7 or whatever. Would I be like, oh, that means the product became 30% worse. Oh, I'm not going to do that. No, I mean, how does that even make sense? Maybe there's a discount. Who knows? But if I like it anyways, wouldn't I want to, believe that is hypothetically a good thing for me to acquire? You know what I mean? So I just kind of view this as the same when it comes to the world of, altcoins. If the price is low, you know what? For me, it's time for me to go, in theory. Like, it's not time for me to just leave, right? It's time for me to go and actually hypothetically still have that belief. Even though I cannot speak on anyone's behalf, this is just my perspective. But if I like a project and I see the price is low, why would I be like, oh yeah, nah? Wouldn't make any sense. I'm not telling anyone to buy HBAR, by the way, but the way I view it is that when it comes to Hedera, it just really, I think, is something that is so fantastic. It's so unique. There's almost nothing really like it. And even going to the price of $3, I get it. It's around a 20x from here. Market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, around 127 billion. But even if, let's say, HBAR just went to the price of like, $1.50, still around a 10x from here. Not to mention, around $127 billion market cap. Take a look at BNB reaching over 100 billion years ago, back in 2021. I just don't think that this is something too outlandish. It's not like HBAR is going to go to like a $1 trillion market cap or something like that. I don't think we'll ever see that, but I'm just saying this is not too outlandish, especially for something this unique. Now, if Hedera was just like another layer 1 blockchain or whatever that's using traditional blockchain technology, then maybe it's a different case because there's so many competitors, right? Of course, we take a look at Solana, of course, BNB chain's very famous and all this type of stuff. But really, this kind of virtually has nothing comparable to it. As amazing as like, Avalanche and Algorand is or whatever, it can't really be compared to something like, Hedera Hashgraph, in my opinion. We can compare it maybe in terms of, like, in theory, what would I rather acquire? Yeah, sure. But then in terms of like the technology, in terms of the fundamentals, I think it can't really be compared to. You know what I mean? And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. Greatly appreciate it. It's Bonnie the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace. Bye.